So for many of us, there are places that we go just about every single day. Places of routine, places of necessity, places that don't feel especially meaningful. They're just part of life. For me, it seems I am at the grocery store almost every single day. With 4 adults and 2 dogs and 3 cats currently living in our household, as well as a weekly visiting toddler, there's always something that we need that we don't seem to have on hand. Are there places like that for you? Places where you seem to be just about every single day? For the Samaritan woman we heard about in John's Gospel, that place for her was the well. She didn't go looking for a spiritual experience. She went there because she needed water, and she couldn't get it at the local grocery store. So she went to the well probably every day because in that time and in that place, that is exactly what you did. At our midweek Lent gathering this past week, one of the things we noticed is the detail that she went at noon to get water in the heat of the day. It was probably the time of day she would likely not see other people there. Most people went to the well before sunrise or after sundown. So we can only speculate why she would go at that time, maybe to avoid other people. No conversations, no sideway glances, no reminders of her story. She went at noontime, intending to get water and go home. But on one particular day, Jesus was already there, waiting. And isn't that just like Jesus? Think about it. He meets us where we are. It's one of the interesting things about this particular story. Jesus shows up not in a synagogue, not in a moment of prayer, not when she's out searching for God or for meaning in her life. Jesus meets this woman in the middle of her ordinary and likely wearisome routine. And maybe that's the first thing we need to hear today. Jesus shows up in the places we least expect. In the middle of our errands, in the quiet moments, in the routines we barely even think about. Sometimes the holiest moments don't happen when we go looking for God, but when God comes looking for us. The encounter that happens here is remarkable. It's a conversation that changes everything. Jesus asks her for a drink, and that simple request, it breaks all kinds of barriers. A Jewish man speaking to a Samaritan woman, a stranger initiating a conversation, cultural lines being crossed without hesitation. And then the conversation deepens. Water becomes this metaphor. Surface becomes depth, as Jesus says, if you knew the gift of God, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water. So she doesn't fully understand what that means, but something apparently begins to open in her as she realizes Jesus isn't just talking to her, he sees her. He knows her story, he knows her past. He understands the complexity of her relationships, the parts of her life she perhaps kept hidden. But for the first time, she's fully known and not rejected and not judged or shamed. And that kind of encounter, it changes people. In a world where so many people feel like they have to hide parts of themselves or manage how others see themselves or quietly carry shame, Jesus offers something different. He's providing safe space to be seen completely and still be invited into relationship. And it's clear from what happens next that this woman has taken a good long sip of that living water, because she leaves her water jug behind, the very reason she made that trip to the well in the first place. And she runs back and tells the townspeople, people she had likely been avoiding, and invites them, come and see a man who told me everything I've ever done. Come and see, she said. Because encounters with Jesus don't stay private. They seem to overflow. They seem to pour out of us. On this day when we observe Camp Promotion Sunday, I invite us to imagine for a moment that Camp Hope is a place that is a little like that well. It's not the source of living water. It's not the only place where God is found, but it's a place that people go because they are invited. And what if in that place Jesus is already waiting in conversations around the campfire, quiet moments by the lake, songs perhaps sung a little more honestly than usual, games of capture the counselor, friendships where it feels safe to be real. What if camp is one of those places where distractions fall away just long enough so that people, children, teens, counselors, and staff, they finally notice how truly thirsty they are? At camp, the masks come off, the stories get shared, faith becomes more than an idea. And for many kids and many teens, especially if it's the first time they've been to camp, it's a first time they feel seen and known and heard and accepted for who they are. Just like that woman at the well. People leave camp different than when they arrive. Not because the place itself is magical, although some would argue that point with me, but because they encountered Jesus there. Today's gospel is good news, and it's not just a story about some woman long ago, and it's not just about kids going to camp, but it awakens us all to the reality that Jesus is still meeting people at wells today, in ordinary places, in unexpected moments, in the middle of real life, and the invitation is still the same. Come and see. Today, I think there are a few invitations for us. For young people and families, maybe this is the year to go to camp. Not just for fun, but to make space for an encounter. For adults, maybe this is the year to support, or to sponsor, or to pray, or to serve in our camping ministry. Because we're not just sending kids to camp, we're creating space for them to meet Jesus. And for us all, the invitation is this: where might Jesus already be waiting for you? In what ordinary place, in what routine moments might Jesus be sitting there ready to speak to your heart? Words of truth, words of challenge, words of acceptance, words that bring new life. The woman came for water, she left with a story. She came alone and she went back with an invitation. And because of her simple words, an entire community encountered Jesus. So maybe that's where we begin the week ahead, each one of us, not with having everything all figured out, not with absolutely perfect faith, just with that invitation. Hear it once more. Come and see. Amen.